जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय गोपी जन
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजन
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन
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 यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी
राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन
अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव की जय। श्री श्री सुदर्शन भगवान की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. ग्रंथराज Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam की जय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, 11th chapter, text number 8. Varanendram Puraskritya Varanendram Puraskritya Brahmanaihi Sasumangalaihi Brahmanai Sasumangalaihi Shankha Turya Ninadena Shankhaturya Ninadena Brahma Ghoshena Chadritaha Brahma Ghoshena Chadritaha Pratyujagmu Rathair Rishtaha Pratyujagmu Rathair Rishtaha Pranayagata Sadvasaha Pranayagata Sadvasaha Varanendram Puraskritya Brahmanai Sasumangalai Shankhaturya Ninadena Brahma Ghoshena Chadrita Pratyujagmu Rathairishta Pranayagata Sadvasa Varanendram Puraskritya Brahmanai Sasumangalai Shankhaturya Ninadena Brahma Ghoshena Chadrita Pratyujagmu Rathairishta Pranayagata Sadvasa Varanendram Puraskritya Brahmanai Sasumangalai Shankhaturya Ninadena Brahma Ghoshena Chadrita Pratyujagmu Rathairishta Pranayagata Sadvasa Varanendram Puraskritya Brahmanai Sasumangalai Shankhaturya Ninadena Brahma Ghoshena Chadrita Pratyujagmu Rathairishta Pranayagata Sadvasa Varana Indram Elephants on the auspicious mission. Puraskritya putting in the front. Brahmanaihi by the Brahmanas. Sasumangalaihi with all auspicious signs. Shankha, conch shell, Turya, bugle, Ninadena, by the sound of Brahma Ghoshena, by chanting the hymns of the Vedas, Cha, and Adritaha, glorified, Prati, towards, Ujjag, Ujjagmuhu, proceeded hurriedly, Rathaihi, on the chariots, Rishtaha, in cheerfulness, Pranayagata, saturated with affection, Sadvasaha, all respectful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. They hastened towards the Lord on chariots with brahmanas bearing flowers. Before them were elephants, emblems of good fortune. Conch shells and bugles were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus, they offered their respects, which were saturated with affection. Please repeat. They hastened towards the Lord on chariots with brahmanas bearing flowers. Before them were elephants, emblems of good fortune. Conch shells and bugles were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus they offered their respects, which were saturated with affection. Purport. The Vedic way of receiving a great personality creates an atmosphere of respect, which is saturated with affection and veneration for the person received. The auspicious atmosphere of such a reception depends on the paraphernalia described above, including conch shells, flowers, incense, decorated elephants, and the qualified brahmanas reciting verses from the Vedic literatures. Such a program of reception is full of sincerity on the part of both the receiver and the received. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmaya Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are seeing the reception of Lord Krishna. We saw how the relatives, the sons of Lord Krishna, they became very eager when they got to know that Krishna has arrived on the boundaries of the city. And thus, some of them were eating, sleeping, drinking. They left all their activities and immediately rushed to receive Krishna. And how they are receiving Krishna, that is explained here. Varanendam Puraskritya. They carried many elephants, which are emblems of good fortune. Conch shells, bugles were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus they offered their respects, which were saturated with affection. So this is the way of receiving a king. See, Brahmanas are chanting the Vedic hymns. So Vedic hymns should be chanted by the Brahmanas. Otherwise, one may imitate to chant, but that chanting will not be effective. So in order to effectively chant the mantra, one has to be in Sattva Guna. and the Brahmanas, they are the Sattva-guna personified, and thus the Brahmanas were taken along with the entire party to chant the mantras for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. And this is the mood in which we worship Krishna as per the Pancharatriki Vidhi. We understand Krishna is like a king, the greatest king, and just like here Krishna is received by conch shells, bugles, by chanting of the Vedic mantras. In a similar way, with many, many flowers, Brahmanas chanting the verses. Similarly, we worship Lord Krishna. This is the way of worshipping the Supreme Lord. However, this is called Vidhi Marg, and this is the Pancharatriki Vidhi, by which the neophytes are supposed to worship Krishna. However, Krishna in his original form, how he is worshipped, that is explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How Lord Krishna is worshipped in the best way is not by all these paraphernalia, but Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajvadhu Vargenaya Kalpita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, Aradhyo Bhagavan Rajesh Tanaya Tad Dhama Vrindavanam. There are many, many objects of worship which are recommended in the Vedic literatures. Those who are not advanced enough to understand the worship of Krishna, for them worship of other Devis and Devtas are recommended. Like in Bhagavad Gita, various processes are recommended. Krishna also explains in the beginning the process of worshipping the demigods, and he tells in this way the demigods were created along with the sacrifices, and in this way you worship the demigods, you offer sacrifices, they are satisfied and they will supply you the necessities. In this way this cyclic process is maintained. So this is the beginning. If you want material satisfaction, at least you are supposed to satisfy the demigods. That is called the karma kanda portion. And when one advances, then one can worship Krishna. So in this way, various kinds of worships are recommended. Now among various kinds of worships, even of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is difference. And the best kind of worship, of course, is Supreme Personality of Godhead, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained. Otherwise, before that, Advaitacharya was very sad and he was deeply pained to see the state of the society. Because people were following the Vedic literatures, but they were following the Vedic literatures, and the result was they were worshipping various demigods. So Advaitacharya was deeply pained. Who will tell them the topmost worship and the real worship, without which there is no deliverance from this world? And thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here, and then he told the supreme object of worship is Aradhyo Bhagavan Rajesh Tanaya. He is the son of Nand Maharaj, Krishna, Aradhyo Bhagavan. He is the object of worship, supreme object of worship. And Tad Dhama Vrindavanam. As the Supreme Lord is worshipable, so is the land also. Tad Dhama Vrindavanam. There is no difference between Vrindavan Dham and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how do we worship? We have understood that Supreme Lord should be worshipped. But how should we worship the Supreme Lord? So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajvadhu Vargenaya Kalpita. The best method of worshipping Lord Krishna is the method devised by whom? Vrajvadhu, the damsels of Vrindavan Dham. How the Vrajvadhu, the gopis of Vrindavan, they were worshipping Krishna? They were not worshipping Krishna with all these trumpets, conch shells, bugles, with the Vedic mantras. They were simple women. They were not even knowing the Vedic mantras. They did not have any formal education of the Vedas. So how they would worship Krishna? They would worship Krishna just like you see the affairs of a boy and girl here. So in this way, they would dance with Krishna. They would joke with Krishna. They would cast sidelong glances of Krishna. By the movement of their eyebrows, they would attract Krishna's attention. So this is the topmost way of worshipping Krishna. There is no need of any paraphernalia, anything else. So this is the topmost worship. This is called Madhurya Ras or the Shringar Ras. So there are various stages of worshipping Krishna. The real worship begins from when a person gives up all these external paraphernalia of awe and reverence, and one advances in spontaneous affection, which is only practiced in Golok Vrindavan Dham, which begins with Dasyaras, acting as a servant, then acting as friend, acting as parent, when one becomes very anxious to take care of Krishna, and then finally like gopis. So this is the topmost worship. However, this is very, very exalted form of worship. Only the personalities who are very, very advanced, they can worship Krishna in this topmost situation. So for us, we follow this method, what is recommended here. Worshipping Krishna like a king with all respects, with great awe and reverence. And by this, when our spontaneous attraction increases for the Supreme Lord, then gradually we also can aspire to worship Krishna in the method devised by the Vrijavasis. That is the topmost worship. And in order to worship Krishna in that way, one has to be very, very qualified. What is the qualification required? So for this, next verse is very important. Text number 19. Varamukhyascha shatasho yanaistad darshanotsukaah lasat kundala nirbhata kapola vadana shriyaha. So on one hand we see that the great Brahmanas, they have gone to receive Krishna. Now another section of society also has gone to receive Krishna. Who has gone? Who can be expected to receive Krishna? At the same time, many hundreds of well-known prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. They were all very eager to meet the Lord, and their beautiful faces were decorated with dazzling earrings, which enhanced the beauty of their foreheads. So Prabhupada explains, we may not hate even the prostitutes if they are devotees of the Lord. Even to date, there are many prostitutes in great cities of India who are sincere devotees of the Lord. By tricks of chance, one may be obliged to adopt a profession which is not very adorable in the society, but that does not hamper one in executing devotional service to the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord is uncheckable in all circumstances. It is understood herewith that even in those days, about 5,000 years ago, there were prostitutes in a city like Dwarka, where Lord Krishna resided. So who is going to receive Krishna? Prostitutes. So prostitutes were existing even in the city like Dwarka. Krishna city, the prostitutes were there. So what are prostitutes doing in Vedic culture? So prostitution is not good. So that is why all the professions are always required. And why prostitutes are required? Because there would be some men who may not be able to control themselves and live in a regulated way. So if prostitutes are not there in the society, then these people will pollute the respectable women of the society. So in order to maintain very good culture in the society, those people who are not satisfied, for them, there was a profession of prostitution. So prostitutes would live on the outskirts of the city. And the men who are not satisfied can go, and in this way society will not be disturbed. However, very important point which is mentioned here is the prostitutes are also very eager to meet the Lord. So this eagerness to meet the Supreme Lord, to worship the Supreme Lord, to understand the Supreme Lord, to serve the Supreme Lord, it is the topmost qualification. And Janma Koti Sukritir na labhyate. This is not attained even after executing pious activities for crores of births. And who is most impious? Prostitute. There is no profession worse than prostitution. But we can see even the prostitutes are able to get the eagerness to serve the Supreme Lord, to see the Supreme Lord. So how do we understand this? On one hand, we tell that we have to give up breaking the regulative principles, and illicit sex is very, very dangerous. The lusty desires, they spoil the urge for self-realization. They kill the urge. One loses all interest in spiritual life because of illicit sex. And here we see that prostitutes are having great eagerness to receive Lord Krishna. And they also went to receive Lord Krishna. So how do we understand this? And there have been examples of great prostitute devotees also, as we will see. One example is given right here. That is why Prabhupada explains bhakti is apratihata. Apratihata means sometimes we may feel discouraged that I am having many bad qualities. How will I advance in devotional life? No. So our current situation is not important. What is important is engagement in devotional service. That is why Krishna tells, Yogakshemam vahamyaham ananyaschintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam. I carry what a person has. We may have some qualities, Krishna will preserve that. We will not lose that quality, and whatever we do not possess, Krishna will give us that. What we are supposed to do? Ananyaha chintayanto mam. Without any deviation, we are supposed to think of Krishna. Tesham nityabhyuktanam, and remain constantly engaged in Krishna's service. So simply if we are serving Krishna, then whatever qualities we lack will be given by Krishna, and whatever we have will be protected by Krishna. So simply we need to engage in service of Lord Krishna, and then whatever we lack would be given, whatever we have would be preserved. So it does not matter, Prabhupada explains. By tricks of chance, one may be obliged to adopt a profession which is not very adorable in society. But that does not hamper one in executing devotional service to the Lord. Thus we can see that people who were most abominable, they also were able to engage in devotional service, and by devotional service they became purified in their activities. The great example of Bilva Mangal Thakur is mentioned. Bilva Mangal Thakur was also addicted to hunting prostitutes, and then immediately left for Vrindavan to engage in service of Krishna. But then still bad habit was there. He started looking after another woman, and then he got carried away again. But then eventually he became purest devotee. So much so that Lord Krishna was coming personally to listen to him, and he was bringing milk for him. So he became such an advanced devotee. So thus anybody can advance. A person who is highly addicted to prostitute can also become very advanced devotee. So it does not matter. That is why Krishna tells, Api che suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhu reva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even though a devotee may be found to be engaged in abominable activities, abominable by the social standards, but if he is engaged in Krishna's service, bhajate mam ananya bhag, without any deviation, then such a person is to be considered sadhu, because it is not easy to change the habits overnight. So by our choice or by virtue of our association, we might have certain unfavorable circumstances, or we might have certain challenges in our life, and we may have some abominable habits in our behavior. But all those things will be corrected simply if we take to devotional service. That is why we should not wait that I will become good, then I will become a devotee, or I have to be purified to become a devotee. No, first we have to become devotee. Simply engage in service of Krishna. And by engaging in service of Krishna, all the good qualities are gradually manifest. We might be as fallen as a prostitute. Who can be lesser than a prostitute? And still we can hope to become the best devotee. This is the power of devotional service. It is understood herewith that even in those days, about 5000 years ago, there were prostitutes in a city like Dwarka, where Lord Krishna resided. This means that prostitutes are necessary citizens for the proper upkeep of society. The government opens wine shops, but this does not mean that the government encourages the drinking of wine. The idea is that there is a class of men who will drink at any cost, and it has been experienced that prohibition in great cities encouraged illicit smuggling of wine. So that is why, just like in some places, they are declared as dry states. You don't get liquor. But do you not get liquor there? You get it, but illegally. Spurious liquor. Because there would be men who would not stop. They will make wine or they will get it somehow. You cannot stop it. So the best way is provide wine in a regulated manner. That is why in Vedic culture, drinking is also allowed, eating meat is also allowed, but under regulation, because there would be people who would not be able to give up meat, would not be able to give up wine. However, the Vedas don't encourage. These things are allowed under regulation. If those regulations are followed, then a person would be able to give up all these things. Similarly, men who are not satisfied at home require such concessions. And if there is no prostitute, then such low men will induce others into prostitution. It is better that prostitutes be available in the marketplace so that the sanctity of society can be maintained. It is better to maintain a class of prostitutes than to encourage prostitutes within society. The real reformation is to enlighten all people to become devotees of the Lord, and that will check all kinds of deteriorating factors of life. Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur, a great acharya of the Vishnu Swami Vaishnava sect, in his householder life was overly attached to a prostitute who happened to be a devotee of the Lord. So the prostitutes were devotees not just in Krishna's time, but of late, around 1000 years ago, when Bilva Mangal Thakur was living. So this prostitute was also pure devotee of Lord. One night when the Thakur came to Chintamani's house, in torrents of rain and thunder, Chintamani was astonished to see how the Thakur could come on such a dreadful night after crossing a foaming river which was full of waves. She said to Thakur Bilvamangal that his attraction for the flesh and bone of an insignificant woman like her would be properly utilized if it could be diverted to the devotional service of the Lord to achieve attraction for the transcendental beauty of the Lord. It was a momentous hour for the Thakur, and he took a turn towards spiritual realization by the words of a prostitute. Later on, the Thakur accepted the prostitute as his spiritual master, and in several places of his literary works, he has glorified the name of Chintamani, who showed him the right path. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, O son of Pritha, even the low-born Chandalas and those who are born in family of unbelievers, even the prostitutes shall attain perfection of life if they take shelter of unalloyed devotional service to me. Because in the path of devotional service, there are no impediments due to degraded birth and occupation. What is the verse in Bhagavad Gita? Where Krishna tells anybody, even who is degraded, can attain perfection of life. Yes? Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudras Yepi Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. So even though a person could not be very qualified, Brahmana, one could be born as a woman, Striyo Vaishya, one could be born as a businessman, mercantile class, or Shudra, or Pap Yoni, various. So these births are considered sinful, or there are yonis or births which are much more degraded. Kirata Hunandar Pulinda Pulkasha. But all of them, Krishna tells, Te Piyanti Param Gatim, Mami Partha Vyapashritya, those who take shelter of Krishna. This is the power of devotional service. One could be extremely unqualified, but by devotional service, one can attain the topmost position. So here, the prostitute was so much elevated because of devotional service, and Bilva Mangal Thakur, a man who was a prostitute hunter, having most degraded consciousness, he ended up becoming Acharya of the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya or Nimbark Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami Rudra Sampradaya. So from a prostitute hunter, a person can become Acharya. So how this transformation happens, this is also important. This can happen only when a person takes shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna. So it is told by Srila Prabhupada that the spiritual master of Bilva Mangal Thakur from previous life, he came as prostitute. So this is the duty of spiritual master. That is why one has to be very careful to select spiritual master from the topmost platform of devotional service. Spiritual master must be Uttam Adhikari, very elevated soul, advanced soul. So spiritual master is accepted life after life. Not that in this life I will accept somebody, next life I will change. No. The spiritual master is considered for one's eternal guidance and eternal service. Chakshudan dilo jai janme janme prabhu sei. And it is the duty of the spiritual master. Once the spiritual master accepts anybody as disciple, the spiritual master also cannot leave the material universe unless each and every disciple is delivered. Thus, the spiritual master from previous life of Bilvamangal Thakur, he came as the prostitute and thus he delivered. So this deliverance from the bottommost platform to the topmost does not happen without the mercy of a pure devotee spiritual master. So taking shelter of Krishna means taking shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna. It appears that the prostitutes of Dwarka, who were so eager to meet the Lord, were all his unalloyed devotees, and thus they were all on the path of salvation, according to the above version of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, the only reformation that is necessary in society is to make an organized effort to turn the citizens into devotees of the Lord, and thus all good qualities of the denizens of heaven will overtake them in their own way. On the other hand, those who are non-devotees have no good qualifications whatsoever, however they may be materially advanced. The difference is that the devotees of the Lord are on the path of liberation, whereas non-devotees are on the path of further entanglement in material bondage. The criteria of advancement of civilization is whether the people are educated and advanced on the path of salvation. Thus, Prabhupada explains, one could be born as a very wretched man or woman in a very unclean, filthy place, and one can be personally very, very unclean, very untidy. But if this person simply has appreciation, oh, this Krishna consciousness movement is very nice, Prabhupada explains, he is much, much more fortunate than any richest person like Rockefeller. So a person who has simple appreciation, person who is very unclean, untidy, abominable, but he has appreciation. This Krishna consciousness movement is very nice. He simply has this appreciation. He is much, much more fortunate than the richest man on the planet. So this is the Krishna consciousness movement. So simply by this appreciation, one accumulates Agya-Sukriti, one starts one's devotional service. So this is the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Papi tapi jat chilo, hari namuddharilo. One should not consider that this person can advance, another person cannot advance. One should have full faith in the holy name and full faith in our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, our glorious parampara. Anybody who takes shelter of Prabhupada, it does not matter what is their current status of life. They could be having hundreds of bad habits, most abominable habits, but they can become the topmost devotee simply by taking shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna. So with this conviction, we should try to preach to anyone and everyone, and thus everyone advance in devotional service. Never mind, they might be in wrong places, in wrong occupations, but if they are engaged in devotional service, gradually they would give up such occupation and all of them would become purified devotees, as it happened with the case of Bilvamangal Thakur. We will end here unless there are any questions.
So, Prabhu, as you mentioning that there should be regulation in providing liquor and other things,
Yeah.
but generally we understand if you want to control some, get away from sense object, the sense object should be we should keep ourselves away from the sense object.
Correct.
So now let's say young boy who is having his friends and somehow they are encouraging him to drink, and he started drinking. And if this thing is not very easily available for him, it can be stopped at that time because he has started.
Yes.
And if it is available very easily in the market, then he can start it drinking and eventually he may have a bad impact.
Yes.
So how to understand this thing? It can be available because we are telling that
That is why it should be available with regulation, not easily available. One has to do Sautramani Yagya, offer it to suitable demigods, and on particular day only one can drink. One cannot drink at one's home.
So now what you are telling that dry state is not possible.
Yes.
Is not correct concept.
Yes.
But it should be very difficult then.
Very difficult. Yes.
Not so easy. That's
Yes.
like available, right?
Correct.
And another question is that in case of Chintamani, because at the end we understood that by following Krishna consciousness, everyone will become a pure
Yes,
devotee.
yes.
So as a pure devotee, how can one be a prostitute? Because because it's a pure devotee, then he should not have bad habit.
No. A pure devotee can be prostitute, can be meat eater, can be anything. Because pure devotee is avdut, transcendental. One can engage in any activity.
But every pure devotee is not an avdut.
Every pure devotee is avdut. They may act like avdut or may act like a well-behaved person. But every pure devotee is transcendental.
Okay. So we have to follow four agreed principle to become a pure devotee. But after becoming pure devotee, we can break four agreed
Yes,
principle.
yes. But if one is acharya, one does not break. But there is no regulation. Just like Madhavendra Puri tells, yesterday was disappearance day or day before. So I give up my daily bath, he is telling. So Madhavendra Puri is giving up his daily bath and the Gayatri and other prayers. So that is called transcendental stage.
But it is not possible for a preacher because we say preacher means
Yes, not
apne
for
Acharya
preacher.
Prabhu
Preacher
ji
means, yes. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Goswamis, they were exhibiting extraordinary behavior. So Acharya means by one's behavior one has to preach. Unless one behaves properly, one cannot preach. So if pure devotee acts as Acharya, then they cannot do this other pastimes of transcendence. Otherwise, for a pure devotee, there is no regulation.
So all the pure devotees are not acharyas.
All the pure devotees can act as Acharya if Krishna tells them. Just like there could be many knowledgeable men, not all are teachers. The knowledgeable men who take to occupation of teaching are called teachers. So pure devotees who preach, they are Acharyas. And generally, Uttam Adhikaris don't preach because they think, I am most fallen, most abominable. Everyone else is a devotee, I am a non-devotee. This is their understanding. So in special cases when Krishna orders, such pure devotees come to preacher platform.
So preacher platform is not
Lesser than
Uttama
Yes.
Adhikari. That's a fact.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, like as you mentioned, that there could be many habits which could be due to some past upbringing or past activities which from in which one could have involved in previously, and those habits will go eventually. They will eradicate it simply by practicing devotional service to the Lord. But at the same time, some habits which are neither gross nor subtle, they are kind of like in Vaishnava community we live. So some has a tendency that he finds perfection or some fault in everything, or there is kind of lording over tendency.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a aparad to the devotee, and when Krishna cannot accept any aparad towards his devotee, then but these are actually the habits which could have come through that upbringing only. So how can we understand this?
All these will get corrected. When we advance in devotional service, all these habits are reformed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, as you said that like anyone who takes devotional service becomes qualified, even if that person is unqualified. But when we, in the morning, we say the 10 regulative principle that we should not preach the glories of the holy name to an unfaithful person. So how do we connect, like where do we set the boundaries? How do we understand that this person...
Yes, so there is no relation between regulative principles and faithfulness. A person could be breaking regulative principles but could be a devotee. Just like we have a gangster devotee in one of our centers. So he was brought to the temple and then Prabhu wanted to feed him prasadam. So he was extremely uncomfortable in taking prasadam. Then Prabhu wanted to understand, what do you eat? So maybe he doesn't like, chapatis or puri. He may need bread or pizza or continental or something else. What do you want? So then he was very hesitant. Then he told, I don't eat grains at all. I eat only meat, pure meat. And yes, he is also fasting from grains always. So and he is expert in killing people. But he tells that whenever anybody asks me that where is God, I take him to the temple immediately and I tell him here is God. He is Krishna devotee. And then he wanders his, then he empties his entire wallet when he goes to the temple. And he's a devotee, even though he's very abominable, he is very tamasic in all these things, but he's a devotee. So that is why anybody can be devotee. So such people we can preach to, irrespective of their sinful life.
So, Prabhu, if an atheist person is there, he is regulated, like he is having a very
Do
sattvic.
not preach. They will unnecessarily argue. Yeah. So anybody who is faithless, we should not be preaching to them. Preaching also should not be done. Glories, yeah. Preaching is glory only. This is told in offense, but in other places it is told, do not preach. Yeah, to those people. Preaching should be done to innocent people. It is told by Rupa Goswami. Those who are envious, we should maintain indifference towards them, and innocent should be preached. Preaching is only meant for innocent people. Of course, advanced devotees can preach to envious also, but otherwise with envious people, we should be indifferent. Don't hate, don't love.
So, Prabhu, when you say Acharya can't leave the material world until unless his old disciple go back to
Correct.
Godhead. So, can we say Prabhupada is still here?
Yeah. Prabhupada is here till his last disciple goes back to Godhead.
So, that is sort of cycle where Acharya itself can't leave the material world.
Not that he can't leave, he does not leave. Just like parents don't live without child. And Acharya is always in spiritual world. For that matter, even though he is within the material world, he is not affected by the material energy.
But that is the core difference where Lord can manifest into other form, but normal jiva can't.
Sorry?
So that is the core difference where Lord can manifest into other forms, but a normal jiva can't. Like soul and super soul, the difference, right? Soul cannot manifest into multiple forms. But
So what is your question?
So when you say like Acharya will be here as well as in.
Here itself is spiritual world. For a pure devotee, material world does not exist. Material world behaves like spiritual world.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It was stated somewhere that when Parikshit Maharaj was ruling, all the 4 places where irreligion resided were not present, like meat eating, gambling. So at that, when he was ruling, there was no place for such things.
Correct.
And when we read that when Krishna was there were prostitutes in that.
Yes. No place means they were insignificantly present. Everything is always present, Prabhupada explains. All the bad qualities are always present, but they are insignificant in other ages. In Kali Yuga, those are predominant. Otherwise, Kali Purush would have protested, you have cheated me. Where do I go? So they were present, but very insignificantly.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhu, as you said that like because of these bad habits, like the bad habits of judging others, like doing offenses, but because of such offenses, like his advancement goes down.
Correct.
Yes, like so. But as you said that by advancement in devotional service, he can improve his. Like, if
Behavior,
I'm
yes.
yes, but his devotional service is going down. Then how we can go up again? Like to improve his bad habits. Like,
By devotional service only. By devotional service, all these bad qualities will get fixed.
okay, one more if you don't mind. Like someone is like he has, as I said, like gangster and all that happened, but he is a devotee.
Yeah.
And even if that such type of quality, but he is a devotee.
Hmm.
So is okay for him that to go on eternally like this, or
Is
that
it
he has
okay for?
him that to go on eternally like this until he goes back to Godhead?
He cannot
To
go
have such.
eternally because Krishna tells Samyak Vyavasito hi sah Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. So if one is engaging in devotional service, he gives up all the bad qualities.
Like it is a gradual
Yeah,
process.
correct,
It happens.
correct.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you told about Ananyas Chintayantamam, that we should always think of Krishna. So, Prabhu, when we are chanting the holy name, we chant and we hear. So, we don't think of Krishna. We don't think. We just chant and hear. So, how is that Ananyas Chintayantamam?
Thinking of Krishna or thinking of Krishna's holy name is same.
Prabhu, but we don't think anything, right? We just chant and hear. We
Yeah.
don't think anything. So, how are we thinking then?
We are thinking about holy name.
Prabhu, but we just chant and hear, no? If we think about the holy name, then we wouldn't be able to hear.
No, we are thinking because unless our mind is applied, what is thinking? Thinking means you apply the mind. So unless you are focusing on the holy name, then how you are hearing?
So,
What is
hearing
thinking?
itself
Thinking means
is...
applying the mind. So we are
Yes.
concentrating on anything, that means you are thinking.
So, chanting and hearing means we are thinking of
Yeah,
Krishna.
automatic.
Okay.
We are thinking of the name of Krishna. We are not thinking of the form of Krishna artificially. When we tell do not think of Krishna, that means don't think of form of Krishna artificially. Form will automatically come. But our entire mind is focused on hearing.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Like as we discussed in one of the previous question that one is having bad qualities or atheistic people we are not supposed to preach. But in Krishna,
No, not bad qualities. Though we told even though a person can have unlimited bad qualities, we should preach if he is innocent.
if atheist, then we should not preach.
Yeah, if atheist, we should not preach. Even though one is having all the good qualities, but one is atheist, one should not preach to him.
But like bro, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that Namam Dushkritam Namuda and Prapadyante Naradama. So
Yes.
these are all the people who are not actually believing in Krishna. So we are supposed to preach them only, ideally, because they are not aware of Krishna's existence.
No.
And
So Dushkriti means, so these classes are there of Dushkritis. Dushkriti will not take to Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
And those who are having Sukriti, they will take to Krishna consciousness.
Understood.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. So, Prabhu, it is said कि whatever the leader follows into the society,
Yes.
it is being passed to the general mass of the people. When you say that a pure devotee can can indulge in any of the activities and there are no restrictions for a pure devotee.
Correct.
Right. Nowadays, we see that there are many spiritual personalities into the world which so-called on the exalted position, sitting on these exalted positions, found to be indulged in so and so activities. How do we understand this a fact that they are onto the platform of pure devotion, something like that, or they are just carried away by their senses and still sitting on that position? Or if that is the case, why
They
it
should
is
not indulge in such activities because they are claiming themselves as spiritual leaders. So pure devotee who may not act like a gentleman, they will not be in a position of leadership. Otherwise, if they are in position of leadership, they will be very cautious to be following all the norms of the society.
okay? In connection with this, that means if someone is in this platform, even if it is a pure devotee and not following the things, then they are not on the right path. So my another in connection, the question is, कि why this provision is given for a pure devotee can act in any way, even it is known that this should not be done.
It is not provision. That is a platform. Just like sick man should not eat. Why? Eating is very good, but for a sick man, he will die if he eats. So that is why for pure devotee, everything is auspicious. If a pure devotee kills anybody, the killing is also good because other person will get back to Godhead, will be liberated. If pure devotee curses somebody, that person will become pure devotee who is getting cursed. He will get delivered. So pure devotees, every action is absolute.
So
It is good for him and good for others. For just like in a society of sick people, they may be envious. So this person, why he is eating? No, for him eating is good. He is very healthy. So all activities are good for pure devotee. There is nothing bad. And in conditional life, everything is bad. Good behavior is also bad because that binds you in this world. Bad behavior is also bad. So for a conditioned soul, everything is bad. So-called good and bad is hallucination. And for a pure devotee, everything is good. So-called good and bad is hallucination.
Okay.
If he steals money from somebody, just like there have been pure devotees who have stolen money, who have cheated people for building temple, and they have murdered also. So their family members became anxious. They got to know that last time this was the person who was with our family members. And what he can do, so they approached him that, you please let me know, I think you have kidnapped our family members. But how he can tell that he killed them? So then it is told that he went to the Supreme Lord, my dear Lord, what do I do? They are asking their family members, they want to meet them now. I am trapped. So the Lord guides, bring them to the temple tomorrow. Then he brings their family members to the temple, and then the souls of the departed members, they come there and they tell, please do not harm this person. If at all you can do anything, you try to serve him. He has done a great favor. He has liberated us by killing us. So he cheated them of their wealth, he killed them, and by this killing, they got liberated, they got delivered. So a pure devotee can do anything that will be only beneficial for the other person.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. As Prabhu mentioned that due to our past circumstances, we may be having some bad habits, which we are not able to correct as of now. So you told that by engaging in devotional service, they will get corrected. So can we understand that the reduction in our bad habits is in proportion to our advancement in devotional service?
Yes, Prabhupada explains, by this we understand how much nicely we are executing our rules and regulations.
So if
That
we
is
are,
called anartha nivritti.
if we are, if the reduction in these bad habits is slow, means we are not advancing.
Correct. We are not executing devotional service properly enough.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have two questions, Prabhuji. Why elephants are used in the temples to carry Lord's idol and take rounds around the temple?
Yeah, so this new propaganda is happening that don't hurt the elephants, and they are putting robots, robo elephants. So poor elephant, this was his only way to get delivered. So that also they are taking, they have taken a chance. It is just like somebody goes to a software company. Oh, these people, they are getting so much tortured. 10 hours he's sitting in front of his desk, and they revolt and make a person jobless. That person would curse them. I have cleared my BTech, MTech just to get this job, and you have made me jobless. I worked hard to come to this position. So engaging in service of Krishna is such an extraordinary situation. So the elephant was engaged in service of Krishna, and they have made him jobless. They have taken him out. So that is why a non-devotee can only harm others, can do no benefit. So yes, don't hurt the elephants, but elephants are meant to carry load. And if they are carrying the load of Supreme Lord, what could be better? So people have no idea. So thus, elephants are natural carriers, just like we are creating our trucks and vans and buses. So that is natural vehicle created by the Supreme Lord.
Second question, Prabhu. Prabhuji, yesterday I realized that so far all I was doing what mechanical devotion. Srila Prabhupada asked to attend Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam classes, so I attend them in morning. Prabhuji told to attend the evening class, so I attend. Prabhuji asked to read the Srila Prabhupada books, so I read them. But I realized that I was doing all this just for the sake of doing. Internally, I am not getting that eagerness to gain knowledge and learn from the sessions, Prabhuji. What should I do, Prabhuji?
So please continue. By doing this process, gradually eagerness will come. So we cannot expect to get cured immediately. If we keep on taking medicine, eagerness will come.
How do we understand a prostitute is a great devotee and yet engaged in the most abominable activity?
So that we discussed. When we take to devotional service, then the past habits may continue for some time. It is just like momentum. You have turned off the switch, still because of momentum, fan will go on for some time, but it will stop. So the karma is, the circuit of karma is cut off, Because of past karma, I might engage in some sinful actions and I may continue it for some time, but it will not continue for long. As soon as we take to devotional service, the current of karma is cut off.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu, in case of a fallen soul engaged in bad activities, how is the mercy of the Lord coming to such a person which transforms him?
So the Lord is very kind. Lord understands because of past habits, the poor person is suffering from bad karma. So if the person is trying sincerely, Lord is merciful.
How do we understand yawning is a transcendental symptom in material understanding? When we are sleepy, generally that time we yawn.
We will understand only when we become liberated. Yawning, perspiration, and faltering of voice, all these are transcendental symptoms. We will understand when we achieve them.
What are the qualities of pure devotee?
There are 26 qualities. Very good question. In fact, Prabhupada wanted us to know because we have to see how much these qualities we are able to develop. So you can please search 26 qualities of a pure devotee. You can Google it and then you will get the list. And we should try to see that we are able to cultivate these qualities positively. We can take.
Should I continue?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, if we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then whether we need to do for Char Dham Yatra and pilgrimage?
Dham Yatra is always good. It enhances Hare Krishna. So please do visit. It is very, very important. And go with the devotees.
At what stage a practicing devotee will be declared as a pure devotee? There are many brahmachari who practice for more than 15 years. Then also they are called then also are they called practicing devotees and not pure devotees?
It is not about number of years. When we have spontaneous attraction for Krishna and we have no material desire, then we are a pure devotee. So we can measure, just like we are attracted, young man is attracted to a young woman. Similarly, when we have this much attraction for Krishna and we have no material attraction, then we are a pure devotee.
Why has God created this material world?
To give us a chance to get liberated.
How to remove dirty thoughts to devotee?
By engaging in devotional service.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu, were there only women prostitutes? Means
Okay.
means family women never indulged in illicit sex. So does it mean that they had their senses controlled more than any men? Just for some men who could not control their senses, women prostitutes were allowed. It means the Vedic culture was misogynistic. 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 What is the Vedic culture take on the family women who could not control their senses?
So women are advanced in controlling the senses. So yes, the training was given so nicely that women were able to control. And when there was this talk about homosexuality and somebody asked, so Prabhupada explained, yes, some men have some desires, but never in the Vedic culture, women were experiencing such desires. They were trained so nicely.
Okay. Can I eat meat because you said devotee is allowed?
I told even if we are eating meat, we can immediately start chanting and we will be able to give up. So if you can give up meat, please give up as soon as possible. If you are not able to give up, continue chanting. And by the strength of chanting, pray to Krishna, you will give up eventually.
I have one man has extorted rupees 8,000 near Prabhadevi railway station, and I went to Dadar's police station, but they are reluctant to file FIR.
Okay.
What to do in such a case?
So apply practical intelligence.
in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam it is mentioned that 40 drops of blood is required to produce one drop of semen. Why do modern scientists disagree that blood is required to produce semen? However, ancient scientists agree, but scientists do agree with the same benefits as Vedic scientists.
So modern science keeps on changing. Probably they will agree when they advance more.
Can we go directly back to Godhead with the current physical body as done by Dhruv Maharaj?
Yes, we can go if we are advanced.
YouTube questions, bro.
Okay, we'll take in the next class.
Yes,
I
bro,
think.
definitely.
Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Subscribe to our channel, and to get the latest updates, do not forget to press the bell icon. Hare Krishna.